Come on now.
Hey guys.
It's just a pineapple.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Here at the Swamp, get ready to beat LSU. Y'all tune in to Rule Number 1 podcast on Monday.
Yeah, there we are, back again, another week, another episode, and another really neat guest partner.
Yeah, we're super excited. I say that every episode. It feels like it's kind of our marquee little opening at this point.
Right.
But yeah, this week we have Cory Greenway, and he is the lead singer, lead guitarist of the Outta Hand Band. Welcome in, Cory.
Thanks. Appreciate y'all having me. And a nice place you got here, man. Down here is nobody's going to bother you here for sure.
That's why we like it.
Heck yeah,
we get to come in here and do our own little podcast thing away from the world.
Yeah,
little Wayne's World type thing.
Yeah. Good spot to do it for sure. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. We whenever we first started doing it, we started calling the studio the Grove, and so anytime we'd have guests on that never been here, we were like, oh yeah, so you got to go down this little dirt road and then come around here, and then the house pops up and you're like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
But it looks kind of sketchy coming in.
Yeah, you never guess there was a house way off down here like that.
Exactly. We enjoy doing it. A little bit about Cory. He, like I said, is the lead singer of the Outta Hand Band. Cory, can you kind of give us a little bit about what the band kind of stands for and a little background about it?
Yeah, we've been together a pretty good while, and we specialize in 80s, 90s type country music with some blues and a little bit of rock and roll mixed in here and there, but we really enjoyed holding the traditional country, to our heart, and remembering all the artists that have passed and have provided us with all this really cool music over the years. We try to keep that alive because sometimes we feel like that's kind of being put on the back burner, and we just kind of keep true to ourselves. And everybody in the band thrives on this type of music as well, so it really mixes well with us.
Do you have like a certain artist that you like to cover the most?
We do a lot of Merle Haggard stuff.
Nice.
We're into Hag. He's pretty much everybody in the band's hero, for musical reasons. And we do a lot of, we do some Tracy Lawrence, do quite a bit of his stuff. Just things of that nature, just where it's real true country music. You can hear everything in the song and hear all parts of the instruments and things like that.
Well, you see, I can already tell that music is a huge passion in your life. I mean, hell, you've made a career out of it. And, we ask every guest every week what their number one rule to live by is. And I'm really curious to hear yours, being from a musical background. Well,
I do believe that practice makes better. In this business, it's almost like, I compare it to, I really enjoy golf. So I'm watching the guys on the PGA on TV. They didn't get to where they are but by sitting on the couch. It's a lot of hard work and discipline, and it's the same way with this. And I feel like that practice does make you, it doesn't make you perfect at music, but it can make you better.
Practice makes you better.
Yes.
I like it.
Yeah, we, Brian and I, with an athletic background, you look at some, like you said, the PGA Tour or the MLB or whatever,
sure.
Those guys are always trying to perfect their craft.
Yes.
And the people that are best at what they do understand the fact that they're never going to be perfect. And so they're always striving to do better and better and better.
Absolutely.
Where did that kind of come from? Was that kind of the way you were raised, or was that kind of something that you've developed over time?
Well, I grew up as an only child, so I had a lot of time on my hands to figure out what to do with my time. And so that I believe that's probably where a lot of it came from. Just and my dad was a very regimented man, and that probably rubbed off on me genetically somewhere. He's extremely, he's almost like a perfectionist. He just extremely has to get everything. If it's not right, he'll go back and start completely over and do it again. So I do think that's probably where I got a lot of my drive from.
I think that I'm the same. I don't get mine through genetics. I'm adopted, so I'm a believer in nurture, not nature.
Sure.
And my dad is the same way. Very perfectionist, very attent to detail, and that's rubbed off on me.
Sure.
I do a lot of things kind of like that too, where you say, you practice, get better, you get better. Hence, here, the podcast itself has gotten better each week, and it's really nice and refreshing to hear somebody out there to say, you don't have to be perfect. Right. Just keep getting better.
Yes.
And I really appreciate that perspective there.
Definitely. So, Cory, a little bit about how you got into music. We want to get your background, and we see, especially a lot of our local listeners hear about the Outta Hand Band. They see them at the Coop or wherever. What got you into music? Where did this whole thing start?
Well, everybody, it's a cliche statement, but way back when I was a kid, this literally holds true though. I remember my dad and my parents, again, I was raised on the type of music I still make a living on. And, I remember my dad I was probably about 8, 9 years old. He'd give me a whole stack of cassette tapes. And it was stuff like Vern Gosdin, Dan Seals, Tracy Lawrence, these folks that I still listen to today. And I think that's actually where it probably started. I was listening to all that stuff, and even throughout my teen years and stuff, I kept listening to it. And, my buddies and I would ride around in the groves listening to this stuff. Yeah. I had no idea at the time that it was shaping my musical career.
Who you were going to be.
Yeah, and I was retaining all these songs in my head, didn't even know it. And, and then so I started playing guitar. I actually started playing electric guitar first. I didn't start on the acoustic guitar.
Really?
I started playing electric. Yeah, my mother went and bought an old Harmony electric guitar. The strings were about an inch and a half off the neck. It was extremely hard to play. And an amplifier. They both were $100 for both of them. So,
that's a deal.
Yeah, so that's what I actually learned on. When I was 5, though, I got this little red guitar from TGNY. I don't know if you guys remember those stores, but they used to be around back in the 80s when I was growing up. And I still actually have that guitar in my closet. And
really?
That was the very first guitar that I bought. My dad found a seashell at Vero Beach when we were on vacation, and that's what I used as a pick.
Oh, that's cool,
so,
man.
yeah, that's kind of that literally is how it got all got started. So
I can tell that you're a very sentimental person.
I am.
And I am too.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think it's really cool what you said, how music shaped you, and you didn't know it back then, right?
No idea.
People every day listen to songs that they identify themselves with.
Mm-hmm.
Me, like, prime example, every morning, if I'm having a bad morning to work, I'm going to listen to, like, it's 5 o'clock somewhere or something, just to think, just to relate, have a relatable outsource. And it's really cool because I've had music, now that I'm sitting here thinking about it and what you've said, I've had music that have shaped me. Mm-hmm. Like that, sure. All right, I'm going to listen to this song, I'm going to go have a good time. Or I'm going to listen to this song, because I'm not having the best day.
Sure.
It's crazy how, relatable tunes are from somebody that you've never met.
Yes.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I will definitely say music has been a big part of my life. I am not musically inclined at all. I would love to be.
Same.
And I need to do a little bit more. Practice makes better.
For sure,
at it. But I just love music. I love lyrics, and I have a really ear for good music, in my opinion, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But growing up, we would always go on the boat, and we had this little 8-track cassette player that go into the boat. And I specifically remember we'd always be out there, and my dad would throw in Shaggy in the 8-track.
Oh yeah.
And so I'd be like 5, 6 years old and be like, it wasn't me. And so we'd be rocking out, and fast forward a little bit, I was 12 years old, and we were playing baseball up in Cooperstown. For anybody that's familiar with baseball world, that's where the Hall of Fame is and everything. We're playing a tournament up there, and we had a little downtime in this tournament, and our coaches start playing music over the speaker, and he was like, all right, if you can name the song, you get 1 point. If you can name the artist, it's 2 points. So they start playing all this old rock and roll stuff, and Shaggy comes on, and all of a sudden I said, it wasn't me by Shaggy, and this is a little 12-year-old Nate. And then I think from then I had the passion for like fine old music and everything like that, and I love it.
Had an ear for it.
Definitely.
Mine came from my dad too. That, like, traveling to baseball practices every week, we would listen to 80s hair band. Nothing else. Like, I'm serious. Like White Snake. Oh yeah. All like yes, just there and back. So gradually, what did my playlist become? I have GNR, I have, Def Leppard, I got all the classic 80 hair bands, and that's majority what the music I listen to today because of my dad. I think that's cool.
I love 80s hair music too. I listen to a lot of that stuff myself, and I went through a period of time between probably when I started playing music to what I was starting on playing, and then when I got into about my mid-teens, I started getting really heavily involved in stuff like Metallica, Steve Vai.
It's huge at the time.
Yeah, I mean, all this, the Pearl Jam, all these things, Nirvana.
I love Nirvana, by the way.
I started just I went off on on a road that I wasn't familiar with, you know, and it was awesome because I started playing that music for a long time and didn't want to have anything to do with country music.
Really?
And it was not a long period of time before I went back to where I was familiar with, but it still allows me today to break out with some of these songs that people ask for, you know, some by Poison or some by AC/DC or something, you know, something like, you know, whatever, B.B. King, Stevie Ray Vaughan. So I was able to remember all that stuff still to this day, and I can, you know, that's how I make a living.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
When you perform, I know it's probably been a while since you've done like strictly hair band music and stuff covers. Is there like a different, I guess, energy that you feel when you're performing that type of music compared to like when you're performing like a country song, or is there something like more adrenaline pumping? Like what? I gotta know.
That's a good question, actually. Really, for me, I'm so involved in the song and actually being a part of playing it that it really doesn't change for me. I kind of still have the same focus and concentration, but whenever there's a couple of those, whenever your guitar's got some gain on it and some things like that, it really it kind of does make you get a little pep in your step, you know. Yeah. So it's fun to change it up a little bit sometimes.
I bet.
So when you're playing guitar, because you're the lead guitarist of the Outta Hand Band, and when you're singing and playing at the same time, how much is that like muscle memory, or like are you having to think about every single note you're hitting?
Well, it's impossible for me to think about every single note I'm going to hit. It's almost like playing chess or checkers. You're thinking about a couple of moves ahead of where you are, and it's subconscious to me now. So it's I'm honestly just thinking about when I'm singing and playing. I'm really thinking about more of. To be quite transparent with you, it's almost like somebody pushes a button in my head and the CD starts playing or the tape starts playing, and it can't stop until the song's over.
Yeah.
You know, so that's kind of how I run my memory whenever I'm playing these songs, and you try to remember the signature licks along with the way the song goes, because that's what your fans and that's what the public expects to hear.
Yeah.
Not your own version of a cover song. I'm sorry. I know that's probably not a very popular opinion with some people, but if you're going to be a cover band and you're going to play these cover songs, your responsibility to that is to go listen to the song, even if it takes you 2 weeks to learn one song, but learn it properly, learn the exact notes that they're playing on the record, and then go reproduce it in front of people.
How often do you guys practice?
Never.
Really?
Nope.
Really?
No shot. I don't believe that one bit.
It's really a fact. We don't practice, and we only practice when we play.
Practice makes you better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Yep.
But like I've seen
it
you
does.
guys play, man, and y'all are good. They're a good like cover band. Y'all like you said, you hit the notes kind of like exactly how the original artist did. And that's what I like. I don't like hearing some, guy up there singing Tyler Childers and totally botching it.
Right.
I want to hear something that's semi close. Yep. I respect that. But you don't practice at all?
Well, the problem is with us practicing, because we all live in different areas. So the way we practice is, and this, I don't know how many bands actually do this, probably quite a few of them this day and time, but so if we go and say, okay, we're going to learn Sweet Home Alabama by Leonard Skinner, okay? So everybody in the band goes and learns their specific part of that song at home on your own time, perfect it. And then when everybody's ready, we'll send a text or something, hey, we're going to play Sweet Home Alabama tonight at the gig. Are you ready? Everybody ready? Oh, yeah, I got it, So we'll take it to the gig and pull it out, and that's how we practice.
Really?
That is exactly how we do it.
That's kind of risky, dude. Like, what if your timing's off, or like, what if just I don't know.
Sometimes it does get hairy. But we have to keep in mind that we are playing live music, so it's subject to not be perfect. But in all my time of doing this, I find that if you have band members that are actually willing to do that and put forth the time to learn your part on your own time and perfect it, that we're actually probably have enough knowledge and skill behind us that we can do what we do without having problems, and it really does work well for us.
Yeah, dude, y'all are great.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank y'all.
We went out a couple different times to the Coop. We were doing a lot of Coop nights there for a while, and we had the opportunity to do a little live session with Cory. We weren't able to get the recording for it because it was a live one. But I mean, man, I think we went on at like 7 o'clock, or 6:30, 7 o'clock, and they were going to play after us. And these people started trickling in. I was like, oh, they must have heard we were, doing the podcast. No. Nope. They were here to see the Outta Hand Band. And they packed out this whole back porch and got with it. I mean, they get down with it. It's a fun time.
Music is an emotional thing. That's the reason why, like going back to what you were saying, how you tie these songs or, with a certain thing that you were doing or something, or a certain feeling that you're feeling throughout the day. This song is going to help you. And, I think that music is so emotional, that's why a lot of people turn to it, to do something with their emotional state. And if they're feeling bad or something, they'll go out and listen to live music, and, it can really change your night or your day.
Yeah, 100%. I personally love going to a bar and there being a live band there. Mm-hmm. I love it way more than just hearing atmospheric music over speakers that sound like shit, and everybody's trying to talk over it. When a live band's playing somewhere, they're watching, relaxed, the conversation's a little bit lower, the restaurant's, a little bit more tuned in. Yep. I personally like it.
I do too.
I love it. So what's your favorite song to play? Like, if you could pull any song out of the hat, which one are you playing?
Well, that's a hard question to answer, but if I had to answer that accurately, it'd have to be probably "Working Man Blues" by Merle Haggard.
Nice.
I'll probably play that song more than Merle Haggard has over time. But just the scheme of the song, the chord structure, the way that we play it together, it's got a lot of really driving guitar, Telecaster, chicken picking, stuff in it. So you can really show off really on the guitar on it, and because the signature licks of the song that was actually recorded in the song are really, really nice licks. So, and I've had to go learn all those licks and stuff, and because I want to play it pretty close to the record so people can hear it. And, but that would probably be my first choice.
Yeah. I'm going to request it next time we go out and see you, just so I can hear you play it now.
Absolutely, man. Anytime. Yeah, I love it. I'll play it for you 2 or 3 times if you want to.
When did you start, getting into cover shows and started? When was your first gig? How old? I'm really curious.
My first gig I was in an actual bar. I was 15 years old.
15.
Yeah. There was a fellow that lived a short distance from us when I was growing up, and he had a really good band around town. He was very well known, played a lot of music, and I'd been practicing in my room for years, and he stopped at my dad was out pulling weeds one day in the yard, and his name's Johnny. Johnny pulled up and he said, "Bob, you think Cory'd be interested in coming down to a practice and playing trying to play some guitar with us?" And my dad said, "I don't know, I'll ask him." So we had to talk about it. I went down and done probably 3 or 4 rehearsals with them, and they were playing some really cool stuff. It wasn't country. It was more like 3 Doors Down.
Oh yeah. What year is this? What time?
That was probably about 1995.
So you're in the thick of punk garage.
Oh, yeah. We were in the middle of it, man. I had a big PV 5150 Eddie Van Halen signature amplifier and all this stuff. I was not playing a Tele. I was playing more like Strats and Les Pauls and things like that. So about 3 or 4 rehearsals in, we decided that it was time to take me to a bar, and I was going to play a show with Johnny and the guys. So my parents actually had to sign a release form for me to be inside the bar.
I get that.
Past 9 o'clock because it's just the way it was. And the lady that owned the bar at the time was real cool, super cool. She knew I was there for the music, and she had no problem with it at all. And back then, you could do stuff like that, and it wouldn't be frowned upon.
Yeah. Right.
But so I started playing that night in the bar, and it was like people started coming up close to me and really applauding and getting into what I was doing. I'm a kid. Mm-hmm. And I thought, man, this is the greatest thing in the world.
It's like a drug.
And it really was like somebody shot me with something. And from that point forward, I got this addiction to seeing that and feeling that feeling, and that's why I chose to stay with it.
Well, dude, it's your passion.
It is.
We'd be hypocrites if we tell you, "Well, that's dumb." No, dude, chase your passion, bro.
You do. Yep, you have to. You can't just sit on it.
You only get one chance at this thing.
Yes.
You get Do what you like.
Yes, I agree.
Do what you like.
Yeah, and luckily we still live in a place here where we can choose what we want to do instead of people choosing what they want us to do. So
exactly. Yeah. With the Outta Hand Band, before that, was your first quote unquote band like where you started traveling around with the Outta Hand Band, or was it you kind of had a couple before that?
I did. I had my own band. Was called Haggard Edge, back to Merle Haggard.
Yeah.
That started in my early 20s, and I played a lot Highlands County, all over. Like, we traveled all over. We'd go to each coast. We played a lot. And then I got into another band after that called Backstage Pass with Vince Lyles and Jack Higgins and some other folks from Highlands County, great musicians. That was a really tight little band that we had there. And we used to, like the Watering Hole in Sebring, it's changed so much now from what I remember it as, but you literally could not walk in that place when we played there. It was almost chaotic. Like, it was a termite mound, and fights and stuff. That's how I grew up. But and then I just kind of, so from there I got a call to play with a band called One Night Rodeo.
That's a great name.
They're out of Fort Myers. They won a competition in Nashville and actually won a record contract.
Really?
And
awesome.
I got the call. They had an original band formed, and then something happened to their guitar player. He left, so they called me. I went and done a couple rehearsals with them. They hired me, and we started going on. I mean, all over the place playing. We played all over the United States, and they had a legitimate, really nice sound, and we together had a nice sound. And unfortunately, what happens with musicians is you reach a certain age, and if you haven't seen a massive amount of progress or seen progress at all, it will mentally work you over to the point where you don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what happened. Some guys in the band got burnt out. So, the management wasn't really working out either, so we all split. But that was probably where I really learned to be a road musician. I'm talking about in a bus, staying in hotel rooms, you have to be certain places at certain times, no matter what you've done the night before.
Yeah.
And, it was a lot of great fun, learning experience for me, but it was difficult at times, not gonna lie, just trying to stay up with it all.
How long was the tour?
Well, we would go out on sometimes it'd be like a 2-week run. Sometimes we'd be gone, and I'd be gone like 3 weeks or something traveling. But we'd put together a tour, like we'd stop at certain places on the way up and then stop at certain places on the way back and stuff like that. So it was a full go of it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I can't imagine life on the road like that. I'd get in some kind of trouble, or I'd get left behind. Something would happen.
Yeah, I remember the smell of socks and dirty ass feet. That's what I remember the whole time being on the bus.
I bet. I mean, you see pictures and videos of like musicians, whether it's like Parker McCollum or Luke Combs or whatever, always on the road. Yeah. Like, I feel like it's you absolutely have to love it, or it's gonna break you. I feel at that point.
I mean, I'm at the point now where my recliner is really comfortable, and them bus seats aren't so much anymore. So, but
exactly,
I'll still love it though. Yeah.
So where's the furthest you've actually played?
Well, I played actually at Abaco Beach Resort in the Bahamas before it was destroyed by hurricane. Maybe that was Michael that done that. I can't remember which one, but anyway, that place was destroyed that we played. I played there twice actually in the Bahamas. The furthest north, I've played 5 years in a row at Sturgis, South Dakota for the bike rally.
Oh, cool.
Wow. Yeah, we've done that. And a couple of things we got to do. I played in Washington, D.C. for the American Cancer Society, like the whole headquarters, their banquet. It was huge, right in downtown Washington, D.C. We left there. We did 2 gigs there. We left Washington and went to Bethesda, Maryland, and played for the Wounded Warriors at Bethesda, Maryland. Okay. That's probably the most interesting trip I've had there.
I can imagine playing like that in the middle of Washington, D.C. Yeah. I feel like, I don't know what kind of music you were playing back then. I'm assuming country music. Well, I guess Washington, D.C. was a little bit back then was a little bit different. If you went around nowadays playing country music.
Maryland's still in the South.
We'll agree to disagree on that.
Yeah, I don't know what type of music they play there in DC. There's no telling.
I would like that. That's so cool though. You get to travel like that. How old were you?
At that time, I was, let's see, I was probably my late 20s, early 30s area.
Okay.
Yeah, it was.
So you're responsible enough to handle yourself out on the road and not, be a dumbass. Like I probably would if I did that.
It's easy to get caught up in the shenanigans, trust me. Being a musician, I mean, it's almost a requirement to drink. You know? If you're a musician or a painter, you need to drink. You know? So, or cook.
There you go.
And, you just kind of learn to pace yourself, I guess. There was, there was a couple of hard learning curves there for the road, but, once you go through that, you're like, I don't do that again. So you do something different the next time.
Did you have anybody that was very influential in your music career, that whether you knew personally or that you really looked up to?
I did. First was my mother. She was extremely supportive of me playing music and always devoted a lot of time to sit and listen to me for hours, just play guitar in my room, no singing, just playing along the tracks or playing along the tapes or CDs back then. But if I had to say that somebody that was extremely influential to me was my guitar teacher, Jerry Powers.
Okay.
I took lessons from Jerry. I knew him a long time. He was a family friend. I took lessons from Jerry for about 2.5 months or 3 months. My mom was paying him about $10 per lesson, come over twice a week, and give me a lesson for 30 minutes or an hour. This went on for about 2.5, 3 months or so. One day he just went to my mom. He said, my mom's name was Gayla. He said, Gayla, he said, Cory is showing me things that I don't even know on the guitar, and I've been playing for 20-something years, but he said, I don't see the need for lessons anymore because you're just kind of wasting your money. And I thought that was real upstanding of him to say that, right. Just he wasn't there to be taking my parents' money, but he still kept coming around after that, and then we started picking together versus student teacher. Mm-hmm. It was like we were playing music together, and he saw me really advance quickly. Honestly, I not mean to sound arrogant, and that's not what I mean to do at all. But I honestly had a natural knack for this to begin with, mm-hmm. And I think some people are like that with certain things, and
there is 100%. Like you can watch baseball players at 13 or 14 years old, and you go, yeah, that kid's gonna be a big leaguer. Yep. You can just tell,
you can tell the form and everything.
Mm-hmm. People pick up natural habits like that all the time.
Yep.
I wouldn't brag about it, dude. That's cool, man. I envy people that can play guitar, because I feel like if I could, I'd sit there and just entertain myself for hours.
And that's what it takes. That's what it takes, man. I mean, that's exactly what the practice thing is, and unfortunately, after some time went by, and I was in my later teens when I went to I had a real job for a while, and I actually my guitar teacher had a twin brother. His name was Jack. So it was Jack and Jerry. And ironically, I got a call to go on a service call to a juice plant in North Florida that Jack was working at. So I walked up the stairs one morning, and he was coming down, and I said, and he knew me, just here and there from working with the company. And I stopped him, and I said, hey, Jack, how's Jerry doing? And he fell to pieces. Mm-hmm. And he said, well, he committed suicide. Wow. And that morning, I was probably about 20 years old. That was one of the most devastating pieces of information I'd gotten at that point in time in my life. But yeah, so if you're up there, Jerry, hey man, I miss you, buddy. So,
I mean, and having a event, have an event happen in that in your life with that happening, especially somebody that influential. I mean, I can't imagine the emotion you felt that next show too, like knowing he was right there with you. Yes. I mean, every note you're hitting, be able to talk to it. I mean, I've had similar situations. My dad passed away when I was young, and big influence on the ball field, and so any big moment in my career, it's almost like they're right next to you.
Yes, which is super. I mean, you need that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
you need that. Yeah.
It pushes you to be a better person too, especially, having all those times with them or whatever, you can always reflect back.
Yes. A lot of people though will shy away from it. Like an event like that, whatever said person, help them out. If it was a coach, they stay away from the game, if it's a guitar player or a teacher, probably didn't pick up the guitar or look at it for a little bit. Like, there's people out there that do that stuff. It's tough to, you know, kind of bounce back from those things, but it's kind of also a good thing that you've said that, because, you know, you've bounced back from it. You're an example for people out there who might be going through the same thing or have past experiences like that.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm so glad. Like, I'm not saying this rudely, but I'm glad you shared that with us, because you never know who out there could be going through the same stuff, and you will bounce back, man.
You know, I think of myself as I'm a realist. I mean, I don't live in a fake world. I know that things are a part of life that are not easy at times, but you can use those things to. You can either use those things to go in a positive direction, or you can use them as a crutch to fall back on getting a felony or something. You know, and so that type of behavior, you know, it's an emotional thing, but you know, it's all about how you want the end to be with that emotion, you know. So I used it in a positive way, and I just keep Jerry with me. I feel like when I open my guitar case, he's standing there, you know, almost, you know, showing me how to plug the guitar in again, or something like that, you know. So it keeps me going.
Yeah, definitely. Whenever you hit those situations, kind of like what Brian was said, you can shut down, or you can kind of learn from it. You know, I know me personally, people are like, will kind of like tiptoe around the fact and be like, oh, your parents. I was like, well, my mom and this and that, and they'll kind of tiptoe around it. And I was like, hey man, like, don't be scared about it. I am who I am. Like, it's made me into the person I am today. You go into situations like that, and you're like, hey, you know, if this situation didn't happen to me, I'd be a completely different person.
Absolutely, I believe in that too. Yeah. Wholeheartedly. It shapes you into what you are and who you are.
100%. So whenever you're on the road, well, with the Outta Hand Band, do you go off anymore, or are you staying pretty much Central Florida?
We do some shows like, you know, down South Florida. We do a couple on the coast every now and then. We do a lot of private functions for people on their land, or functions like that, and weddings, things like that. But as far as traveling out of state, the next time I'm going to do that is on June 10th. It's actually with another artist out of Tampa. We're actually going to make a run to Mississippi. He's doing a show there. They hired me to play guitar for him.
Oh, nice.
So we're going to run out there and do a I think it's a 2-day run. Then we'll drive back. So it's not a long stint. And I haven't done a stint on the road in a while. So, but it'll be fun, and it's not too long one, but that'll be the next one I go on.
I'm sure you're excited, though.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's a good opportunity.
Yeah, just out, and I've never met the guy, so it'll be like I'll meet him the day I get on the bus or whatever we do, and, you know, sometimes that's a great thing, just meeting new people, that kind of thing. You know, you don't never know where it might lead.
Where are you going out in Mississippi?
I'm not sure of the town. It's for a rodeo out there, and I have been given information, and I'll be damned if I can remember it this time. It was a town I've never heard of before, so.
Yeah. I mean, that's 9 times out of 10, that's always a good time.
Yeah. I've been out there a few times, and just back with One Night Rodeo, we played in St. Charles, Louisiana, and that area out there, and we did a radio tour out there, so that's why we were out that way. And
good people.
Lake Charles, not St. Charles, Lake Charles, Louisiana, and I was thinking about Monopoly. St. Charles place over there.
St. Charles. That might need to be a clip.
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah.
So whenever you mentioned the radio tour, you've recorded a song, haven't you?
I have.
You're not just cover, right? You've had a couple songs.
I have a couple of original songs that I wish. I'm sorry to say I don't have any more. About 2 or 3 at this time, but it takes me so long to write a song that I don't produce very many of them.
Yeah.
I don't just throw them out there like, you know, assembly line work. But yeah, I've got 2 or 3 decent originals that they're actually playing. For a year now, almost a year, they've been playing my song "Long Hard Road" down in Highlands County and Arcadia area, all over. It's reached a bunch of people, and I do appreciate WWOJ 99.1 helping me with all that. And there's been a couple of more radio stations playing it too, but.
I remember you telling me about this when we spoke at the Coop. That's it. That's a cool story. You got to tell it.
Yeah. So got a call from one of the DJs down at WWOJ. His name's Donnie Schaefer, asking me about some original music because they're one of the very, very few radio stations in anywhere that I know of that will actually play local talent.
Yeah.
And will give you a chance to be on the radio. You know, obviously you can't sound like a cat going up a vacuum cleaner, but you know, you got to have something to offer. So they give local artists opportunities to be on mainstream radio, which is huge for us because otherwise we wouldn't get that play.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, so I developed a relationship with them, and they pretty much but they pretty much told me that, if I write an original song, pitch it to them, they're going to play it.
That's awesome.
I just give them another one of my original songs last week, sent an MP3 of it down for them to start putting on the air. And I actually received a call from Donnie last night, but we were in the middle of something. I couldn't answer it. And he goes to bed at like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night because he has to get up at 3 in the morning to put a DJ. And so hopefully I'll get the news here within the next few days that they'll start playing my second single there.
What channel is that again?
99.1.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's out of it's basically based out of Sebring, Avon Park area. It's WWOJ.
Man, that used to be big though. Like way back in the day, radio stations used to do that for a lot of young people, like talent. What was there? There was a big one. Elvis, his stuff. He took his stuff to like a local young talent thing like that, and it caught fire like that. You know, I wish there was more radio stations around the country. You could take an MP3. Imagine the artists that you would find. It wouldn't just be these stupid mainstream singing shows like The Voice and American Idol. Like you would find actual talent. Like that people might just be going, all right, next station, scan. Oh damn, who's this guy?
Yeah.
I wish there was more of that.
Yeah, it could be a positive thing for everybody if the more of that was going on. You're right, and I don't even listen to mainstream radio, to be quite honest with you.
Either.
I don't listen to any music at all. Never. I mean, Paige will tell you too. I don't listen to any music at all ever. Even when I'm driving, nothing. The only time I listen to music is when I'm playing it.
That's crazy.
That now at this stage of my life, but it's, I don't know, there's some really big radio stations that I'm not going to name off call letters and signs on here because there's not any use in it, but we've reached out numerous times to people like that trying to get some exposure on some bigger radio stations, and they just pretty much shun you. They you're not good enough, or the program director's too arrogant to do it, and whatever. So, but definitely commend the guys down in Avon Park for playing the local artists too. Man, that's huge.
I feel like one day that there's a big movement across the United States right now and across the world about independent people, like independent journalism, independent reporting, independent podcast, like being away from the mainstream media, because the mainstream stuff is controlled. It's puppet. It's propaganda, or whatever you want to call it. It's whatever that fits whoever's in charge up here.
Absolutely.
Right? And, I feel like podcasts are coming around. There's 4 million podcasts in the world. 4 million. So, like, people are starting to get voices through that channel.
Yes.
So imagine what kind of innovation might come from, people that pick music, play music, write all these, original songs. There'll be I guarantee if there's not a platform one day, I'm patenting it tonight, because that sounds like a good investment, dude.
Yeah, it's tough on small artists like myself, that don't have national recognition, or somebody that I'm not a household name, but it really could change into something, if people would just give us an opportunity for our music to be heard, and then again, can't say enough about the integrity behind 99.1, that they are able to, they're willing to really kind of go out on a limb. They're, of course, they're going to listen to your song before they stick it out there on the radio. Make sure it's not, but it's huge that they help local artists, and small people. That I think that's a thing that's dying right now in our world, because everything is becoming so just gigantic that the little people and the really, really seasoned people are really left behind, in some way or another. So, any step we can get is a help.
Definitely. We've had McCoy Moore on. I forget what episode.
17.
Yeah, he came on, and he's from North Lakeland. I don't know if you've heard of him.
I haven't, but a lot of good talent there.
Oh yeah, he came out of North Lakeland. I went to high school with him, good buds. And then he ended up moving up to up to Nashville when he was 19. So that was about, I think, 2-3 years ago.
Okay.
And he said it's a big thing up there where it's like you've got to fit the cookie cutter.
For sure.
Yep.
And so, especially in that Nashville scene, it's like the pop country Morgan Wallen kind of deal where it's like if you're not in that scene, if you just sound a little bit different, that's not what's trending, and so you can't do anything. It doesn't matter if you're making fantastic lyrics or can strum the crap out of a guitar.
Right.
You're not getting your voice heard.
And Paige has heard this so many times, but I'm gonna say it again. There was a time when I was in Nashville, I had some things working with a management company, but they literally started taking me, wanting to change me into something else. And I'm just going to say this, and I'm not going any farther with it, but I don't wear jeans with rhinestones and snaps on the pockets. I just don't wear that, and I can't conform to it if I don't believe in it, you know. So I'm like, listen, I'm here for the music and the emotional part of this. I'm not here for you to dress me.
Well, dude, hats off to you, because there's a lot of people out there who would have sold and signed the dotted line and would have had rhinestones out on the stage walking out. You know, like like it takes a special kind of person to say, you know what, I'm doing me. Yeah. Like I don't care what you want me to be.
Yeah, I hate relying on something like that. You know, there's a stipulation basically. Well, okay, well, you're a good musician. You can sell records. You can do this. You can write good stuff. You could probably be an asset to the industry, but you don't wear what we're going to wear, what we're telling you to wear. So you can't. We need you to go back to Florida.
Yeah,
you know, that's and to be quite honest with you, if you're not from Nashville, you're a piece of garbage basically. So at least that's what I found to be.
True.
The situation in that town. So
it's kind of like that saying, "It's not what you know, it's who you know."
That is so true in this industry that I'm in, and probably you guys too. It's a huge thing, and I'm not an ass kisser. I'm nice, you know, and I try to be super humble to people, and just about music, and just try to be a nice person in general, but. I feel like if I move there, I've got to be an asshole. You know, I just don't have any choice. You know,
exactly. Just sticking up for yourself. Period.
Yeah, just trying to live. You know,
I can selling. You know, McCoy did say that when he was on, that people sell themselves to the industry
just to be a star.
Yeah, just to do it. Man, there's only one kind of artist that's recently, I'm talking about like the mainstream guys, right? Like the big marquee guys that didn't fit the cookie cutter, but has made his own cookie cutter shape. That's Luke Combs.
I agree.
Luke Combs, originally when he came up, his sound was kind of twangy, kind of outlawish, kind of some stuff you'd hear on the Texas radio or whatever, outlaw radio, I think it's called, on Sirius XM.
Red Dirt.
Yeah. And, he blew up. They had no other option but to make this guy mainstream because they're going to lose money if they don't.
Right.
But, I hate to say it. This last two albums starting to sound more and more like that Nashville mainstream shit.
And that's what's happened. They get a hold of all these artists. I'm going to take another example. Let's take Jason Aldean. When I started listening to Jason Aldean, he's always had this rocky type sound to him, and I always enjoyed that about him. Honestly, because it's different. That's his sound. It's very recognizable. But his first album was the best one out of everything he's produced, and everything after that, you literally can hear Nashville taking a hold of these people, and the record producers telling them exactly how they're going to play this song to sell it, and it's, man, damn it, man.
It's I don't want to call it a problem, but it's like a sense of individuality is gone.
Well,
right?
I think the difference between the album that Morgan Wallen, his last two albums, the difference between the two, like the one he just released, I think that's just your cookie cutter Nashville one too. I think,
it is.
And a lot of, you can't hate on it because he had 6 of the top 10 songs, but clearly it's selling, but it's like, that's not what the last 3 albums you've put out are like, Morgan.
Yeah. It's, and again, if you don't fit an image, there's an image that they expect you to uphold, and whether it be the jeans I was talking about, or whether you have a mullet, or whether you have this specific thing that they can market. Yeah, it's not necessarily you're a great singer or you're a great guitar player. I'd be willing to go out on a limb, bet Morgan Wallen don't even know a G from a C. You know, I mean, I'm just willing to bet he don't play guitar. I mean, he don't have to, you know. Right. So, but man, there's so much more to music than just an image or just something you can market and sell. I mean,
I agree,
and that's where we're at today. That's why we're not doing well in the music business.
It's starting to all sound the same.
Yeah,
right?
I can't tell who's singing, man. I mean, I literally, if I turn on mainstream radio, Luke Combs has got a pretty recognizable tone, but anything after that, I don't really know who's singing. You know,
it's so true though. It like 97.5. You know, I don't want to call them out because they're a great station, right? But the music that they play, they're like, man, I'm so tired of hearing Luke Bryan for the 15th time by 3 o'clock.
And over.
Like, come on, man, find something else. Find these young guys that are out there running down the dream, like bending some strings. I don't know. It's just,
I just have an image in my head of stuff like that in these radio booths and stations where the producers and the program directors, you know, they're sitting with their feet up on the couch smoking a damn cigar while I mean, they're not doing. I mean, it's just like same old thing going on, you know. So,
you know, one station that does actually a pretty good job of that, besides the 99.1, US 103.5 on the Bobby Bones Show.
Oh yeah,
they play a ton of up and coming artists, whether it's from Nashville or wherever, because he has the his podcast. I think it's like Bobby Show or something like that.
The Bones Show.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's a little different with his podcast name, but I mean, it's every single day they're pretty much having a new star at least once or twice a week. And I found music just because he was like, hey, this girl, she's got a great story. Here it is. I forget the girl's name, but I was just listening to it the other day. But apparently this girl was in like rodeo, and then something happened and she got hurt and she could never like rodeo again. And then all of a sudden she's out here putting in country music and she's hitting all over these boards. I can't remember who it was, but
yeah. Just by giving somebody a chance, it's not mainstream, you know, and that's huge. Bobby Bones giving people chances like that, you know, and that's a huge name, a huge thing going on. So, you know, it could really put you in a place where you've never been before if you get tied up with people like that.
You know what I love? There's a show out there called Kill Tony. It's a podcast, right? So it's three guys, comedians or whatever, mainstream guys. They give guests a minute, 1 minute to bring out your best stand-up you got. You got 1 minute to make everybody laugh.
That's it.
Dude, that show has produced like 3 or 4 touring comedians now that sell out stadiums. Could you imagine if they had that? Like, you know, they have American Idol, they have The Voice.
I was about to say, it's kind of like American Idol.
No, but like if they actually had that, like for, you know, somebody who's just standing outside of a, you know, bar every day. All right, this bar, they're known for giving young guys a shot.
Yes.
Just like the Kill Tony podcast. They're known for giving comedians a shot. If you get your minute and you fail, oh, well, you got your minute.
Yeah.
Right, that's it. I mean, yeah,
you had
got to start over. Go somewhere else and start over.
There should be something like that for music, too.
It'd be awesome if they had something like that in Nashville.
Yeah.
Where, you know, I mean, it would inspire more people to go there and not, you know, and not want to move there, you know, for the reasons that I was given earlier, you know, and that really, I feel like I'm not the only person that feels that way either. So,
could you imagine if there was a place though like that in Nashville? Every executive there would go get lunch, trying to look for their next star.
Right.
Well, I think that's kind of how it used to be, and then it got political. You know, you hear about Garth whenever Garth Brooks came over from Nashville, and he was just this small town Texas cowboy, comes into Nashville. I mean, and he actually ended up going back to Texas, I believe, because he was like, you know, I don't like it, and his mom told him turn around and go back. And then I think it was like a couple months later he ended up getting signed.
Yeah.
Yeah, he actually got turned down a couple times too. And I mean, bless that old boy's heart that turned him down.
Yeah, he missed out on a bag.
Yeah, he missed out on a Brinks truck.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, Cory, you know, moving a little bit along, you know, we do this segment every show. It's called Snap Questions, and
he's done it before.
Well, yeah, I forgot.
Yep.
And so, you know, the one question that we ask every single episode is if you could have 3 people dead or alive out to dinner, who would your 3 people be?
I would have, well, definitely my parents. Both of my parents have passed, so I'd love to see them again. And I'm going to go with the same answer I went with prior to our other interview, and it's got to be Red Fox.
Okay.
I'm a huge Red Fox fan. I enjoy his sense of humor. Always have. I can be having the absolute crappiest day and go sit down and turn on Sanford and Son or some kind, even his stand-up stuff.
Yeah.
And I really just, it turns things around for me. So I would like to sit and talk to Red for a while too. That'd be
good.
Cool. Yeah.
That's awesome. So are your parents 2, or are you going to count them as 1?
Okay, I can count them as 2. And probably, if I had to have a third person, I would probably have to say,
it's kind of a tough
he's
question.
thinking.
yeah, I'm just thinking of
He's probably had like 4 or 5 options by now in his head. He's like, no.
yeah, I would probably, maybe Keith Whitley.
Okay.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That is a good one.
Yeah.
A lot of people say if he would have never passed on, he would have been the king of country music.
I'm in a full agreement with that because, if he hadn't married Lori Morgan, he would still be alive, I think. But, his he had a special tone of voice, and the way he projected a song. I mean, it was and you knew immediately when you heard his song that it was Keith Whitley.
It was kind of natural. It was like the thing we were talking about, a natural to it.
There was no question about it. It's Keith Whitley. And I can hear the first 2 notes of the song, that's a Keith Whitley song.
Yeah.
So extremely identifiable, but man, what a huge influence. That would be
that's a cool
trio of cool people there if I could sit down with them. Yeah.
That'd be a good dinner.
And all 3 of them are all those people are passed. So
you get, some closure, hang out with your parents, get a nice laugh with Fox, and get some good music too. That'd be a good dinner.
Yeah, that would be a cool. I don't know if I could hang with Keith drinking, but I'd try probably.
All right. So our next question for you, we ask this one a lot too, because we feel like other people can learn from it. If you could give one piece of advice to 2 20-year-old people, what would it be?
Keep your nose clean. Keep your integrity intact. Keep your name clean. And don't do anything to ever shame your mom and dad's name or your name, and stay out of jail. That's a huge thing. That's probably what I would say. You guys, I've done a couple of these things with you guys now and talked with y'all. You guys both have a really good head on your shoulders, man. And
I appreciate that.
Of course. Yeah. I enjoy talking with y'all because, we can get on this type of level together. But that would be my advice, man. Just keep your nose clean, keep your integrity intact. If you say you're going to do something, do it, and or try to get it done. And I think that's another thing that's kind of a thing of the past. And people's integrity levels have dropped off, and
it's back-to-back week now that we've had guests mention that.
Yeah, our last episode, Liz, she said her number 1 rule was just to stay by her integrity too. Yep. So it's kind of a recurring thing.
Yeah. Once you tarnish that, it's not like a piece of jewelry where you can take and buff it back out. It really takes a long time to recover that fault. If you have that happen. So
that's a good one. Good advice. And I keep your nose clean. Everybody.
Yeah.
He's like, literally, if you just keep, anybody out there could take that advice. Just do what you're supposed to do, and don't be an ass, and don't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, be a human.
Yes.
Treat people humanly. It's really not that hard.
So this next question kind of goes right along with that a little bit. But we've started to ask this a little bit because it was a couple episodes back, we were talking to John O'Neill, and he was wanting to basically tell people, how he lived. And he's very open. And he's like, this is how I lived, this, and that.
Sure.
And I was talking to Brian, I was like, this might be a good question to ask. So if you were to die tomorrow, what would your legacy be? Like, what would you want people to remember you by, like your legacy?
I'd want people to remember me as being a kind person, a good father, somebody that has a solid word.
Yeah,
that's where I'd like to be. Mostly I want to hope I made a really solid example for my son.
Mm-hmm.
So that pretty much,
Good. Yeah, that's awesome. Good. Yeah. I've yet to answer that question on this podcast because I've yet to know my answer.
Right. Sometimes it takes a while, brother. You know what I mean?
It does.
And it might change every week too.
Yeah.
But, well, Cory, we've had a blast. I mean, this is the second time we've done this, and we would love to have you on again in the future, too.
I'd love to come back. Now that I know where you guys live back in here, I can find you.
Exactly. Yeah, no, we, a cool thing that we do every week is we follow back our guests on Instagram, and we'll friend you on Facebook and everything. But do you want to shout out your social media so people can get in contact with you?
Yeah, you can look up, I'm on Facebook. I use Instagram, but I'm not a proficient Instagrammer like I am at Facebook, but my Facebook is just Cory Greenway. I don't have an artist page and all this kind of stuff. You can really just reach out to me. I'm a real person. And of course, the Outta Hand Band has a Facebook page, so we'd like to keep that going too. Mm-hmm. And they're kind of intertwined with my Facebook page as well, but nevertheless, that's how we advertise. Mm-hmm. And call 99.1 WWOJ in Sebring and tell them to play my music, because they will, And I'm
going to do it on my way home now.
Yeah, they had Donnie said that when this first started happening, almost a year ago, they had, in fact, the radio, the program director came to one of my gigs in Sebring one night, and him and his wife were really nice. I didn't know him at the time, but I met him there, and he said, I just want to tell you, that your song has had more people call in for that thing than we can even answer, so yeah, call the radio station but yeah, Facebook, Cory Greenway, Facebook, Outta Hand Band, and everything like that.
Definitely. You want to hit it, or you want me to hit it? You kind of botched it last week. Just do what everybody else does, guys. I'll say it this week. I got it. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. You can see us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcast. Hit that follow and like button. It really helps us out, boosts us in the algorithms, and keeps us growing. Cory, thank you so much.
Brian, Nate, Maverick, thank y'all so much for having me over here. I almost feel very comfortable talking to y'all, and it's becoming a really cool thing here to come vent to you guys in a way. So, yeah, we'll do this again, man.
Well, we appreciate it. And thank y'all for listening. We'll see y'all next week.
Bye, guys.
Thank y'all.